feels like it's still going on. It was, if you watch it bell to bell from pre-show to end, 8 hours of wrestling. Jeez, I mean, it was a long one, folks. I'm not going to do the pre-show stuff, the prelims. What I will say is, I'll go through the prelims. That's what I was going to lost my track of thought. Really, apologies. The Shane Taylor Promotions against the Sons of Texas. Sons of Texas won with the Iron Claw to every single member of that team. The Don Callis family were taking a hologram, Kyle O'Reilly, Ichi, and Big Boom, AJ, and a celebrity getting involved. Holograms team won that. Saw Power Boom from AJ to get the victory there. I'll go into that. And surprisingly, FTR versus the Outrunners was the main event of 0 Hour, folks. There was feet on the rope. It was a shitty finish. FTR won with that Tarwood rolling up Turbo with his feet on the rope to get the job done. It was a really fun 0 Hour. I would say that, like, I know what Tony Khan's trying to do, and he's trying to get everybody on the show. It is their WrestleMania. I totally understand what they're trying to do here. I just don't think it's necessary. We had a combination of matches, so many matches. I mean, Dustin Rhodes is in 3 matches. He wrestled ROH, he wrestled in Sons of Texas, and he's wrestling on All In. We'll get into that in a minute. I just don't think it's necessary to have a 2 hour pre-show when you've got a 6 hour pay-per-view to come, 6 hours to come. It was just, for me, a little bit too long, a little bit too long-winded. It kind of drained, and I think the crowd went through that kind of movement during the show as well because of the sheer amount. It worries me for Forbidden Door coming up when we're off to that as a turnbuckle, because 8 hours, just jeez, going to be too long, in my opinion. Anyway, let's get onto the card. Now, the Ops and the Death Riders for the Trios Championships kicked off the show. Enjoyable start to this, a fun opener. I just think, like, this, the Ops retained the Trios Championships, by the way, in this, but a lot of this was more to do with the aftermath. Now, obviously, the Hangman Adam Page, John Moxley, Texas Death Match ends All In. That's the main event. So what the Death Riders did at the end of this match, after Samoa Joe hit the Muscle Buster and Wheelie Yuta to score the victory, was they Death Riders attacked Samoa Joe with a chair wrapped around his neck. He stomped on it, and that got Joe out on a stretcher. Now, I also believe Samoa Joe's filming, so I think it was a way to kind of write him out of storylines, at least for a bit, but certainly took him out of the main event, which kind of limits Hangman Adam Page's helpers, right, for the show. But yeah, fun opener on this, but I do think it was more to do with the end more than the match itself. Yeah, I think that the crowd was taken aback a little bit by that. And again, it was difficult for them. I mean, there was 27,000, 27,000 in there. On AEW's biggest American gate, I believe. And yeah, they just, I just felt that some of it was difficult for them because of the time. And they were in and out of this match a little bit. But yeah, I think they were kind of a bit downer on the end of that because of what happened to Samoa Joe. But hopefully it's just a write-off and just to get him out. Now we had the fun match, one of the men's casino gauntlet. And I totally forgot that this was a 1 pinfall match. So the way that the AEW do these gauntlet matches is a little bit like a Royal Rumble. Every so often the clock hits and somebody else comes out. What I forgot was that all you had to do was pin somebody, and that's it. So they can have an unlimited amount of people, but if someone pins somebody, the match is over. So it got to 14 men come out in this. Mark Briscoe, MJF, Ricochet, Bandito, Konosuke Takeshita, Mystico, Josh Alexander, Anthony Bowens, Roderick Strong, Brody King, Juice Robinson returned a cleanly shaved Juice Robinson, I may say, looking a bit like Uncle Howdy in that. Kota Ibushi, the Beast Mortos, and finally Max Caster was the 14th and final entrant in this match. I was a little bit disappointed that there was no surprises in this. Maybe thought Eddie Kingston may have returned. I thought Copeland, but we'll get onto him in a minute, may have come back in this, but no, didn't happen. But nevertheless, still a fun gauntlet match. The ending of this was kind of typical, and was typical of where AEW has gone with the storyline, which has actually been well wrote, because sometimes with AEW they forget storylines. Well, throughout the last few weeks, Mark Briscoe and MJF have been embroiled in a storyline. He's a little kosher, little pickle, and all that sort of stuff. So it was good that the finish was basically a continuation of that. Mark Briscoe hit the J Driller on Roderick Strong when you think he's going to win. MJF tosses Mark Briscoe out of the way and pins Roderick Strong to win the Casino Gauntlet and ultimately a shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship whenever he wants. I thought, and just to be honest with you, does not cash that in the main event that I thought he was going to do. It was a fun gauntlet match. I do feel for the gauntlet matches down the past, this was probably the most underwhelming one, because they've had some excitement in the other one, which they didn't quite have this one. So it just didn't reach that kind of, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but in terms of like when you're comparing it to the other gauntlet matches, it just didn't quite hit the same for me personally. And that's why it was probably the most underwhelming one. But still a lot of fun. And MJF wins, which means, as I said, anytime he can cash that shot in. And he's got the backup of the Hurt Syndicate as well. So we'll see what happens. A bit of a serious note now. So Tony Khan come out on X and basically said that Adam Cole was not medically cleared to compete in his match for his TNT Championship against Carl Fletcher. So they've done a fatal four-way for that. But before the fatal four-way started, Adam Cole comes out. And me personally, I didn't notice an injury. That he wasn't limping. There was nothing in a sling. There was, But the speech that Adam Cole gave indicates, well, whatever it is, as the light goes off in this room, because it's motion censored, of course. So I probably, if I did just go dark, apologies. And it wasn't AEW. I'm not on AEW dark, I assure you. But anyway, Adam Cole, there it is, boom, comes back. The emotion in his speech kind of says, he said he's going to be away a long time, but he also drops a retirement hint, which it's a serious one. This isn't a storyline. No, not that it's a storyline. He was crying. Roderick and Kyle O'Reilly come in the ring at the end, gave him a hug. This is a serious one. I don't know, and nobody knows what the injury to Adam Cole actually is. Maybe is it concussion one, something like that, where he's away for a long time. But there's a lot of wrestlers been tweeting out with the support. Britt Baker, his former girlfriend, tweeted out, a bit of a broken heart for him and stuff like that. So without being horrible to this moment, it really dropped that crowd level down lower because of the emotional that was that from Adam Cole. In all seriousness, though, we do wish Adam Cole the best, whatever it is. We hope that it's not the serious end of it, that he has to retire. We know it's serious enough that he's going to be away a long time. But what we hope is that he doesn't have to retire and he'll be back on AEW in the future. But yeah, the TNT Championship was contested under a fatal four-way rules. It was Daniel Garcia, Dustin Rhodes again, Sammy Guevara's tag team partner, and Carl Fletcher for the TNT Championship. It was such a difficult one for those four to come off the back of that. Could it have been better if Adam Cole had done it on Dynamite, maybe? Because it did shoot the crowd down. The crowd was shot to bits, and it was a very emotional moment for Adam Cole. So, yeah, did that kill the momentum of the crowd? Did it kill it? Maybe. And it was difficult. It was a difficult match because of the circumstances around it, really. And I think a lot of the fans may have had a hard time focusing on it. I certainly was kind of taken aback by it a little bit, and it kind of drew me out of this match a bit. And I'm also not sure whether the winner of this match should have been the winner or whether they'd done it purely because of what had happened to Adam Cole. Because we're in Texas, Dustin Rhodes ended up winning the match. He hit a roll-up on Danny Garcia, a small package, to get the victory. And I just wasn't sure whether or not this was done purely because of the Adam Cole. We were all expecting Cole Fletcher to beat Adam Cole. We was all expecting Cole Fletcher to win this match. But because of what had happened prior, I think maybe that match may have had to finish changed to kind of bring the crowd back up. The hometown boy, Dustin Rhodes, kind of wins his first AEW tag championship. Obviously, he's won the Ring of Honor stuff. We know that. In terms of AEW, he hadn't won it before. So maybe that was the reason why. Maybe. I'm not too sure. I would like to think that's the case. I don't think his reign will be too long. Carl will definitely win it. Fletcher, that is, at some point. Maybe even as early as Dynamite on Wednesday would seem a logical choice. But not sure. But listen, congratulations to Dustin Rhodes. Well deserved after the amount that guy's put into wrestling. Ridiculous. So very, very well done to Dustin Rhodes. Now it's like a special entrance bit now. We move on to the Young Bucks, Will Ospreay versus Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. Now, there's two elements to this. If Will and Swerve won, the Young Bucks were no longer competes. If the Young Bucks won, Swerve and Will couldn't compete for a year for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Will Ospreay had a great Assassin's Creed entrance, as you would hope. I do always say one thing, like Nando's. You need to get on the Will Ospreay bandwagon. Sort him out sponsorship. He does the cheeky Nando's. He always gives you, props every time you need it. So give Will Ospreay a damn sponsorship. Anyway, he had a great Assassin's Creed entrance. Jojo Offerman, the widow of the late great Bray Wyatt, sung "Ain't No Body," which was an interesting one. I wasn't expecting it. It was a nice surprise. And then Swerve had his entrance, as you and Prince Nana do in the dance. Young Bucks had like a pirate entrance. I wondered what the hell was going on. I was watching CBeebies for a minute on this. So three great entrances. This bloody light in this office. It is fantastic. It's motion, as I said, it's motion. If I'm a bit darker for the rest of it, if it keeps going like this for the rest of it, I'm sorry if you don't like flashing lights. Yeah. Three great entrances on this. Great. It was a great tag match for me. So the finish was the Will Ospreay hitting the hidden blade, Swerve hitting the Swerve stomp for the 1-2-3, which was great. It was exactly, I feel as if where we were with the Adam Cole situation, and it kind of Dustin Rhodes brings it here. The crowd are back on track with this. They loved it. It was a good to great tag match. Unbelievable work for all four of them. I just think it lacked something. Don't know what. I suppose when you hear the name Will Ospreay, you're instantly thinking it's going to be up here. It was sort of, kind of see it was sort of down a bit where it should be. Still an incredible tag match. Again, it brought the fans back to where it should have been. Just feel like it lacked something. But nevertheless, Will and Swerve winning was a surprise. I was expecting the Bucks to pull it off. I was even expecting maybe a Jack Perry interference in this, so that Will couldn't go for the World Championship until All In next year in London. Makes sense, right? But anyway, Will and Swerve win. EVPs are no more for the Young Bucks. Still a good tag match. Women's Casino Gauntlet time, run through the participants. There was only 12 in this one. Statlander, Megan Bain, Willow Nightingale, Tay Mello, Pakela, Julia Hart, Queen Anamata, Mina, and Fina, Thunder Rosa, Suri, and Alex Windsor makes her AEW debut. Well done, Alex. Great to see you in there. Athena wins this match. Still the longest reigning Ring of Honor Women's Champion. She is on another level right now. She hit Mina with the face to score the pinfall victory. It is start, I think, and hopefully, of a long and overdue push for Athena. I feel as if this match wasn't as polished as the men's one, but I felt like this was more exciting of the two. I really got into this one more than the first one. I think because I was expecting more in the way of surprises in the first one. So I was a bit of a downer, but this one delivered, and I am so looking forward to seeing what Athena does in AEW on the main roster. I mean, she's carried Ring of Honor, literally carried Ring of Honor on her back so long in that women's division. To now see her in AEW going forward, women's title shot whenever she wants it, She is going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with. Just moving my arms to try and keep that light on, by the way. She's going to be a force, and I'm really looking forward, and I'm all here for what she does in AEW. So congratulations to Athena, and finally on the main stage at AEW. FTR joined the commentary desk for this next one. Jet Speed, the Patriarchy, the Hurt Syndicate for the World Tag Team Championships. Bobby Lashley hit Christian Cage with a spear to win the match, but this was all about the aftermath. The tag match, I don't think was ever in doubt. What I would say was, I was glad that it wasn't Jet Speed eating the pin. They've been eating a few pins recently, so I'm glad that they didn't eat the pin. I'm glad it was Christian Cage, and it made so much sense to the aftermath of this, which is where the stuff goes down. The match itself, very fun three-way. Not surprised at the end of it. Well, like I said, I'm glad that Jet Speed didn't get pinned, and I hope they get a shot later on down the line. But it is the aftermath. Christian Cage is laying down at the end of this. FTR get in the ring. They're about to do some damage to Christian Cage. Nick Wayne and Mother Wayne and Kip Sabian get in there. And they were going to hurt Christian. Nick Wayne sort of pushes them away. Christian gets up. And, Christian's just like, yeah, come on, let's just go. And as Christian turns, Nick Wayne hits him with the kill switch. Mother Wayne slaps him. They are literally going to destroy Christian Cage. They have him positioned for the concerto. You think you know him. Adam Copeland comes out, makes his return to AEW, runs to the ring, cleans house, and saves his former tag partner, Christian Cage. As Adam Copeland helps him up, he basically tells him to go find himself, not fuck himself, find himself before leaving. The start of the return of Christian and Adam Copeland has begun in AEW. We thought we were going to get there at some point. And who would have thought the heel, when Nick Wayne finally turned on Christian Cage, we would hate him more than we'd hate Christian Cage. We thought that was going to be a big one for Nick Wayne to blow up as a top babyface. But in fact, he's going to be able to be a top heel as Christian and Adam Copeland are going to come together. Perhaps FTR in their sights too. I know that's a dream match for Adam Copeland. Great to see Copeland back in AEW. I hope that this run is injury-free. Doesn't do some crazy shit off ladders and cages or anything now going forward, and gets a real clean run in AEW with Christian as his tag team partner. Finally getting to the triple main event, as it said, Mercedes Moné. We're talking about special entrances. Mercedes Moné, Toni Storm getting a special. And again, it was a special match. Sometimes I will say the match lived or doesn't live up to the hype. We was expecting big things, and it absolutely delivered big things. What I'm really glad about more than anything is they didn't try and sandwich too much between the unified title and the Texas Death Match. Like, I know this is all going off on a tangent, but if you'd had this and then you had another load of matches, I don't think it wouldn't have been the right thing to have this, to have one more match and then the Texas Death Match. Totally worked in terms of the booking of this particular match. These two, Mercedes definitely best match in AEW so far, and I've said that the last couple of times that she's fought in AEW, so she's really delivering. Might just be the chemistry that or who she's working with in the ring with her delivers. Great match, and more surprisingly for me, it was Toni Storm that picked up the win with a Storm Zero off the top rope. So Mercedes eats her first defeat, at least in the singles in AEW. So huge win, really, for Toni Storm. I hope they cross paths again later on down the line. But this was great. It really did. And it was really good because the crowd was so invested in that as well. And it was just a massive success all round. I was glad that this kind of didn't go on just before that Texas Death Match, and Kenny and Okada did, which was kind of in a difficult position. But sometimes with that crowd needs that come down, and not disrespect to Kenny and Okada, but you got to try and keep them. They were up here for this women's match. I feel as if If they'd done Kenny and Okada, then they done it. They may have kind of been down here. So great booking on behalf of AEW there. And a really good match. These two tore it down. Tony Storm picking up the victory. Okay, Kenny Omega, Okada. And this was to unify championships now. So this championship is now going to kind of be, I don't want to say secondary, but it's going to kind of be like we'll get to this point in a minute, actually. Kind of like being another world championship, if that makes sense. On this bill like WWE, Raw and SmackDown, right? So my question is now, are they going to have a Dynamite Collision split, a more proper split in AEW? Potentially, who knows? This again delivered. Here's the thing: it was a damn good match, but when you watch back Kenny and Okada's matches from the past in Japan and everywhere else, it was the weakest match. But it was still a brilliant match, if that makes sense, because they're just two so good. Felt as if there was too many ref bumps in this, if anything. And there was a lot of interference in this as well. But I did still love this match. Klitschko Okada hit the Rainmaker eventually to beat Kenny Omega. Yeah, it could have done a few without as many ref bumps, maybe without so many interference, especially what's coming next. It could have been better, but it was still brilliant. But, you know, like I said before, if you go and watch the previous matches between these two, it's probably if you're Dave Meltzer, right, it's the weakest 5-star match between these two you're going to give, because he's going to give this 5 stars. But it'd probably be the weakest 5-star that he gives it. Right. Finally, after 7 hours and so many minutes, and glad this doesn't go on this long. Texas Death Match, Hangman Adam Page, Jon Moxley. Okay. Was this match overbooked? Yes. Was this match over violent? Yes. Do I give a fuck? No. It was just nuts. This match was totally crazy. We had interference from the Death Riders, Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin, Prince Nana, who handcuffs Marina Shafir to the timekeeper's table. She went through tables. They were going through barbed wire tables. Moxley dragged Adam Page through fucking glass. They went through chairs every which way possible, barbed wire tables. Fucking stabbing Moxley in the head with a fork, for fuck's sake. This was absolutely nuts. However, Swerve Strickland gets involved. Now, we know this story goes back. We've seen them trying to clear the air recently. Would they clear the air to a point where Swerve Strickland would come to the aid of Adam Page to assist him to win the championship? Yes. And man Adam Page on Collision gave him Swerve Strickland the chain. Well, in this match, Swerve Strickland gives the chain back. Now, they took out Will Ospreay, same way they did Samoa Joe during this match. So I'm not sure if that writes Ospreay off or what. But Swerve Strickland passes the chain to Adam Page. He clocks Moxley with it. He hangs him off the top rope. By the way, Adam Page comes out to his old theme song, which we all love. Hangs Moxley over the top rope. Moxley taps out. Adam Page wins the trophy. The championship finally in the hands of AEW. Finally back into the hands of an AEW wrestler. Finally out of the briefcase when eventually he got it open. I must stress, I thought that MJF was going to come out and cash in at that point. He did not. They let it go off the air with Adam Page, with all the fireworks, and in a great way to end it. You look at Moxley's reign, and people have criticized it, and rightfully so, but he's been great. Moxley has been the one that carried AEW on the back, where other superstars, where it hasn't worked out with Punk, and there's been a couple of people. The one constant in AEW has been Jon Moxley. Hopefully, and I do hope now, Moxley gets his time off, because he was meant to have like 6 weeks or 6 months off when Punk got sacked, I think the second time. I can't remember the second or the first time, but he come back and he held AEW, so he deserves so much credit for what he's done. Hangman Adam Page is great to have the champion. Darby Allin back, he's going to want a title shot. We know Swerve Strickland is going to want an opportunity as well. So much stuff going on for AEW, who are really knocking things out of the park. That was a 9 out of 10 for me. Pay-per-view. A couple of bits brought it down. The Adam Cole bit, obviously, really seriously enough, and hopefully we'll get to see him back soon. But all in all, very fun show. 8 hours, though, way too long for a pay-per-view, man. Jesus. Don't do that to me again, Tony. Honestly, please don't. But a fantastic show from AEW. Brilliant show all around. Congratulations to them. They WrestleMania, they knocked it out of the park. And we look forward to Dynamite this week. But now I'm heading downstairs because it is nearly time for Ignite Wrestling Breaking Point. The Hitting the Turnbuckle Championship is on the line at Luna against the debut in Lucy Sky. We've got Tommy Kyle, Taylor James for the World Championship as well. And of course, Buckle Up Free is coming up very, very soon. Bigger, badder, better. Tickets are already on sale and are going. So get it onto 96 Eventbrite. Get onto type Buckle Up Free in that search box. Get your ticket because it will sell out. Another big name has just been announced on the poster. I'm going to be posting that later on socials. Get your tickets now, guys. And follow us, HCT Buckle on X, HCT Buckle on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, and all other social media outlets. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe.